RuneFest 2011, RuneScape's talented designers joined forces with fans to create a brand new character in 2 exclusive insider sessions. While RuneScape's modelers turned concept art into reality, the team took a closer look at the character design process.
Alec, what are we looking at as lead character? What software is this?
Mark is using 3D Studio Max at the moment, which is something we've introduced to the company relatively recently. We generally use an in-house software, but yeah, I mean, Mark's sort of creating a 3D mesh, and as you can see, he's kind of just using the concept to sort of get the overall shape at the moment.
How long does it usually take to create? Would it take to create a model of this sort of like this detail and this size?
I think, assuming it's a sort of 5x5, the biggest size we have, usually 2 to 2.5 days modelling. That's fully textured and everything. So Mark's got his work cut out a bit today.
Dave, you were the man of the moment yesterday, producing this concept. What was the best bit about this whole endeavour yesterday? And don't say finishing.
I'd say the time restriction on it was probably one of the more exciting parts of it. Obviously, at Jagex, we have to work very quickly to get concepts out to the modelers, who have to get them out to the animators, and there's a massive pipeline there, and we're at the front of it. So the kind of time restriction we had, while extreme, wasn't too far away from what we would normally have on a day-to-day basis. So it was almost just like being at work, really. What particular challenges do you think this model will present to Mark?
I think looking at the concept, there's quite a few small fiddly bits and pieces, especially around the mouth, like the teeth and things, which I think Mark will probably have to interpret for modelling. He'll probably end up maybe getting rid of a couple and sort of slightly enlarging them so they really do show up in game. That's a real kind of challenge that we have to think about as modelers and really to interpret the concept. I think wings are always a bit of a what's it. I think especially when animation's concerned as well, we really have to work hard with them to sort of you know, make sure they deform and stuff. So Mark would probably when back at work, he'll probably speak to them quite a lot, and it's down to also the individual animator. They might want to animate it maybe slightly differently to how another animator would like. So it's down to preference as well, really. You
say that you communicate regularly with the animators when you're creating creatures. What sort of things you would actually specifically highlight about this, about warnings to animators, be careful about this, be careful about that? What do you think they'll have trouble with?
Again, the wings, and also the tail. Generally, when there's a tail involved, we model it dead straight so they can label it all up. I think they will play around with it and deform it how they want, and then again come back to us and say any other bits and pieces, any other extra cuts they might want, I guess. The head, if the mouth is going to open, they might come back and say they need a few extra polys around the jaws to make that open properly. Yeah, I think, again, it's down to personal choice with the animator. They're the ones that give it character.
Alex, so just give us like a brief outline of how you would actually physically go about creating a model. What's the process of, I mean, we've heard about sort of like how it goes from concept art to the character modelers then to animation, but what are the actual processes that you find that you do when you actually create a model?
Generally, we'll start with a plane or a cube. It depends on like the, you know, the modeler's preference, really, but we'll look at the concept. If there's a side view, it really helps to bring that into the 3D program, and we start by mapping out the overall shape with planes. We extrude each edge, map all around it, then we kind of really just flesh it out, and it's a case of just keep on looking around the 3D space and looking at every angle to try and match the concept as best we can. And then, I mean, generally we only model one half of the model. We instance it or mirror it, which kind of gives us sort of a gauge as to how it's looking on the other side. But we will copy that side over, and then once that's done and we're kind of happy with it, then we'll start to sort of later on we'll start to kind of vary it up, and so it's not totally symmetrical. It's one thing we like to stay away from is total symmetry on both sides, unless sort of intended.
Dave, how do you capture and show dynamism and personality in a concept drawing? I guess that must have been pretty difficult.
Yeah, basically when you start a drawing, you have to make very smooth, clean curves and lines to capture like the posture of a character. If you nail those, then it's usually okay just to add detail, and the drawing will come together quite quickly, but it's the foundations, basically, is where you put it in. So the posture of this character, say, it's sort of hunched forward. You notice towards the end of the thing I did yesterday, where I moved the head slightly downwards, I literally, in the last 10 seconds, chopped it off, moved it downwards a few inches, because it didn't look aggressive enough. It didn't look like it was about to attack. So yeah, just simple things like posture, and also facial detail. Things like just crinkling the eyes at the edges, turning them down to make them look evil. Sort of very simple stuff that seems pretty obvious, but if you miss it, can completely ruin a design.
How important is color for a character, Dave?
Obviously, it's very important. Different colors display different emotions for a character. And they're the old cliches. Red is violence and aggression, that kind of thing. Cooler colors tend to be more placid. You can mix and match the rules, of course. They're not hard and fast, but in general, they give the player an idea of what the character is going to do and what its intentions are. And this comes from nature. You know, animals in nature use certain colors to display or to camouflage themselves, or to say they're going to attack, or that kind of thing. So yeah, color is massively important in this kind of creature. And I'm rather glad people actually chose red for this one, because I think a cool blue might have looked a little odd for the design. Yeah.
What tips would you give to a budding artist these days?
It's the boring old advice of practice. There's no shortcuts to getting fast or to making the correct decisions when you're doing a drawing. The only way you can do it is repetition. Good advice just daily is just to do one drawing a day and focus on doing things that you're not used to drawing or don't really like drawing. Hands, faces are two big ones. If I look at a piece of work and I see that the artist has maybe fudged the hands a little bit, you can't see all the fingers, or if he's turned the face away from the camera so you can't see that, I get suspicious. And if it happens repeatedly in his portfolio, I know that he doesn't like to do that. And that kind of work probably won't get you hired in the industry. So yeah, focus on the things you think you're bad at rather than the stuff you like to do. And eventually you'll get a lot more confident with it, and you'll enjoy your drawing experience a whole lot more.